Hello HG and everyone. I'd just like to put over a vote for Mother Teresa. She built schools for the poor, hospices for terminally ill, colonies for lepers, missionary group consisting of over 4,000 nuns internationally in 90 countries, or over 90 countries. That's the good side. The dubious side is the way she cared for the sick in these hospices and elsewhere. Volunteers at hospices stated that sanitation of missionaries was poor and dangerous, disregarding many standard hygiene requirements, including not boiling water to purify it, and repetitive use of needles in different patients without disposing them as needed. When they were washed in water that hadn't been purified, she replied, "There's no point." Theory that she used sick and poor to showcase a caring side rather than a genuine attempt to care for them. This puts an argument in that direction. The carers were not vetted, trained, or needed to have medical experience. Clothes covered in feces were washed next to silverware that the patients would eat off. Patients had to bathe in freezing water as no hot water was supplied. A volunteer offered to install a boiler and other services, but was told no and that they didn't do that here. And this was the way Jesus wants it, even though Mother Teresa brought in 30 mil in donations per year during that time. Very little of this money was used for the hospices. Rather than trying to treat those in pain, she would say to them, "There's piety in pain." Reporter Donald McIntyre saw patients tied up like animals. These tended to be mentally ill patients, or those babies, whilst being fed and were wrapped in clothes to stop them moving. She had questionable political contacts. Catholic mosques around the world, including the far-right Lebanon Catholic militia, committed mass murder, refugees at refugee camps. Worked with Robert Maxwell and Charles Keating, both business tycoons who were involved in what was considered the Charles Keating was involved in what was considered the greatest financial scandal in the 80s. She took donations from all these people. When confronted with the money having been stolen, she didn't return any of it. And that's it. Oh, she also baptized the dying without their consent. Sounds like HG's case for sense of entitlement.
Hello, HG. Hello, everyone. The person that I'm voting for is Mother Teresa. The reason why is because we have always been presented with one image of who she was. I'm interested in knowing more about a more human side of her. If there are any layers to explore, did she have a dark side, a hidden side? It's not that I'm looking for dirt, but I would like to learn all aspects of her versus one side. Maybe there is nothing. But I am interested in how she got to be where she was. Did she stay that way? Was there pressure? I'm interested in knowing if there were any pressures being the face of goodness. If there's pressure that comes with being in a religious organization. It's also interesting I would like to know more of how even religion can push facade management and even be a haven for dark and sadistic people, not saying that she was. So for that reason, I think she'll be a very interesting subject.
Hello, HG. Hello, Tudorites. I would like to ask you to cast your vote for Mother Teresa as the next subject for the Tudorscope analysis, because after hearing one of the listeners propose her as a selfless, wonderful, caring person that she was not, it became very clear to me that her idealization still persists. And this is despite of all the best efforts of Christopher Hitchens, who in the mid-90s first put out a documentary called Hell's Angel. This was done for Channel 4. And then the following year, his very prominent book, The Missionary Position, where he took a very close look at her origins, at her actions, at what the order was doing. And his conclusion was that given the cruelty and the corruption that were an everyday occurrence in the order, and the way she acted out on the basis of her facade. Essentially, she is actually a perfect representation of the holy narcissist pair HG Tudor. Hitchens referred to her, I quote, as a fanatic, a fundamentalist, and a fraud. And having looked at his analysis, it seems like a very accurate explanation. So I hope that HG can set the record straight once and for all, and that good-meaning Tudorites would not put her in the same basket as Princess Diana. Thank you.